Been threatened with war. We must react.
Indeed. How many men are you planning to put in arms, then?
Some thousands, Your Excellency. Many thousands, of course, but the number of farmers we give muskets to is hardly going to be decisive.
Are you planning to raise a proper army, then?
No. We were under the impression that we were under the protection of the finest military in the world, Your Excellency.
Oh, indeed you are. We shall certainly dispatch some thousands of troops to Canada immediately. Meanwhile, the Americans will arm 1 million men, likely in the north alone. Do not imagine the British Empire is going to get drawn into a land war against a force that size over an expanse of rock and trees.
And how can you expect Canada to defend herself against that, Your Excellency?
Well, I understand your problem, gentlemen. I regret that I cannot do more to help you solve it.
George, you'll have a wee dram before you go up yourself.
Oh, aye.
Anne, come meet George. Well, have you met my sister before? It's been so long.
No.
Mr. Premier?
Oh, no. Just plain George Brown, please.
But you were Premier.
Perhaps technically, not in any real way. Anyway, I'm out of politics now. I'm just a businessman.
Is that a difficult transition?
Aye, it is. That's why I'm in Scotland. Remove myself from the temptation for a while.
You must be concerned by the war in America.
Oh, very much. Cheers.
Slangy.
It must seem very distant from here, but in Canada it's all too immediate, believe me. My real fear is that the colonies will get pulled into it.
Do you have a side? Canada, I mean. The papers here tend to favour the South.
Surely not. No. My sympathies lie entirely with the abolitionist cause.
Another one. Anne won't keep quiet about it.
I've written on the subject, you know.
I do.
How do you know that?
Well, I did some small research when I learned that Mr. Brown was coming to stay. I found your writings both passionate and persuasive.
I'm flattered.
What do you mean the British won't defend us? That's ridiculous.
It's reality. They'll make a show, but they won't go to war.
So how are we supposed to defend ourselves? It's not 1812 anymore. We can't very well go and burn down the White House.
Yes, we know that.
America
we can't
is
stop them
vastly stronger
by force
than we are.
of arms. Therefore, we must mount a real effort to dissuade them from invading.
Meaning what, John? What's a real effort?
50,000 men in arms, $1 million for fortifications all the way across the country from Quebec City to Sault Ste. Marie.
We can't afford that, John.
We can raise it.
You're proposing conscription.
That is how armies are raised, yes.
You're not making sense, John. First you say we can't defend ourselves, then we say you have to raise an army? Why? If we can't win, why?
Because there must be a price to pay, Galt. If the Americans want us, they must realize it will cost them in blood. And if England will abandon us, it will cost them in honor.
Stop now, John. If there's no hope of this.
Why should England defend us if we won't defend ourselves? Why shouldn't America take us if the cost is free?
Not conscription. I can't support it. Not ever.
We have no other choice.
I can't sell it.
If the Americans come, they may treat your people well, George, but they won't do it in French.
Sorry, John. You will not get the votes.
Damned if I won't.
We have to make the maximum commitment to defense possible. It is the only chance we have of controlling our own destiny.
Well, why do you need me? I mean, you're the government. The French won't back you. Is that it? Of course they won't. And you want me to play the bogeyman so that you can have conscription and lay the blame on us?
No. I'll take full responsibility. You have my word.
Well, I won't do it.
I'll make you Premier, Seinfeld. Whatever it takes.
You'll make me Premier, all right. As soon as you fall.
I will bring the bill to the floor, Seinfeld. At least the people can see who tried to defend their country and who stood by.
All those in favour of the militia bill?
You're drunk.
Why would I do this sober?
All those opposed? The government is defeated.
You'll be back in soon enough, John, you know it.
No. I'm done with that.
You're just in a blue funk. You know you can't live without it.
The Americans have 1 million soldiers. And I cannot even convince the Assembly to raise an army, believe me. I can live without it. Bring me another bottle, Liza.
It just wasn't the right time, that's all.
It is exactly the right time. This godforsaken stillborn place needs to stand up and do something. It must seize nationhood. It cannot birth itself. This is the moment. Crisis is upon us and we do nothing. We let it all slip away. We'll all be Americans soon. Bring me another bottle. Liza, bring me another bottle.
Is there something troubling you?
Nothing. Business.
Well, you've yet to tell me about Canada.
Oh.
I'll keep asking until you do.
Well, the usual descriptions are that it's large, empty, and bitterly cold in the wintertime.
But that's not true.
Oh, no, I'm afraid it's all too true. There's almost no class system, though you'd probably be appalled.
Probably not.
The fundamental tragedy in Canada is that it is entirely misconceived. Being joined, no comes rests or character, we share neither language nor religion, and yet we're lumped together in a single parliament to prevent domination of the French minority by the English majority.
I see. It's understandable.
If you're French, perhaps. But those of us in the majority are denied our democratic rights. Now, if we are to be forced into a single government with the French, so be it. But if we have the majority, we should have untrammeled control over it. How can you argue otherwise? Oh. What have I said?
We are in Scotland here, Mr. Brown. The idea that the English majority should have untrammeled control over us is not naturally popular.
Aye. But it's not the same.
C'est sûrement comparable.
You speak French.
I do. And if I were French living in Canada, I wouldn't want to be dominated by you just because you're English.
I'm afraid I must seem something of a tyrant.
No.
Aye. You've exposed me. I've not looked at Canada with any perspective but my own narrow one.
Well, perhaps travelling has broadened your perspective.
Travelling has confirmed my love for the place, aye. You're what's broadened my perspective. You have been a wholly improving influence on me. And I shall miss that terribly.
You're here for many months still. No, you're not.
I have an admission to make. I've booked an early passage back home. I don't feel right being away with the American threat. In fact, I plan to fund the militia when I return.
How soon?
2 weeks, soonest I could get. I've booked 2 cabins. I was going to hire a clerk, but then I realized I don't need one. You could have it. I mean, you could have my cabin, and I'll take the clerk's. If you wanted to.
Mommy, look what I've got for you. Mommy, look. Something's wrong with Mommy.
It's a relief, though, isn't it? With no shame in it. It's a relief for everyone, really. Her more than anyone.
What's a relief? What does that mean?
Only that she was so sick, Hugh, and... well, now she's not in any pain anymore.
She didn't want to die.
I'm not saying that.
We all miss her, Hugh.
I want to come live with you.
But we want you to come live with us, Hugh. With your Aunt Louisa and all your cousins.
I don't want to.
Come here, Hugh.
Have a seat. It's not really feasible, Hugh. I wish it were.
Why can't I?
You need to be in a proper home with other children and someone who can cook and isn't going to work 12 hours a day.
But I want to live with you.
All right, Hugh, I'll tell you what. See how it goes until school ends, and then you come for a good long visit, Hugh. And then we'll decide what to do after that, okay?
Yes, sir.
Welcome back, George. This must be Anne. So pleased to meet you. I hope you don't find this place too boring.
No, I'm fascinated by newspapers. I read 2 every morning.
Well, you'll only need 1 now, I suppose.
No, now I'll need 3.
George, we need to talk.
Well, not about politics. I'm out of it.
It's about the lead editorial.
All right, what is it?
We want to come out against Sandfield.
Are you mad? He's your leader.
George, he's a disaster. We can't just stand by.
Is that really wise?
Well, it is regrettable, ma'am, but necessary. He's decided that we need majorities in both halves of the province, the upper and the lower, or he withdraws the bill. Even if it's easily got enough votes to pass, he calls it the double majority principle.
Double stupidity principle.
I am not involved. Civil war rages in America, and the Assembly chases its tail. Stupid fools. Far more useful raising a militia here than I would be banging my head against the wall in Quebec City. I made the right choice there.
You don't want to be in Parliament?
Legislative Assembly.
Whatever you call it, you want to go, George. It's as plain as day.
Well, of course I would.